So the timer started.
So we've got Marcel Loget, self-defined GOAT over here on viewers' right. He also won a tournament this year and many, many tournaments in the past. Marcel was one of the first big tournament players back in the 90s. I personally met Marcel at, I believe, the National in 97. Neither of us were qualified, and both traveled to the tournament anyway, and went through what was the vicious grinder system at that point. The day before the tournament, they had a event where everyone could sign up, and you had to go 6-0 in a single elimination event to qualify for the last few spots for the national. And him and I both were fortunate enough to do that day, and that's how we met each other and have become good friends ever since. And then on the left, we have Ricky, who I believe flew up from Oklahoma. Is that right, Joe?
That's correct.
So that's great dedication right there. And Ricky's been a new up-and-comer on the scene. Already has made a name for himself by playing Iron Man Beyonder deck with, I believe, 21 avoids for Iron Man. So Ricky's trying something else today, something different out today. And
well, he's playing Jubilee, so I think he's trying the same thing, just with different characters.
Okay, it's not that different yet, but I wonder why he made the shift. I guess it's because Jubilee costs 10 and Iron Man, well, not 10, I guess 16 to have the duplicate avoids, but it allows him more versatility with his other characters because he can get that 8 stat in there. And
yeah, I think this looks like a stronger configuration. So Marcel places a lot of heat. He's got a 8 intellect on Mr. Fantastic. He's got the 7 fighting, 3 multi on Star Jammers because they can place 2 power cards because of their inherent. And he puts the 5 multi on Beast. He is running Raza, which is a really powerful special. Now, Ricky, we don't know exactly what he's going to have for defense. He looks to have a 7 and an avoid for X babies. So Jubilee's a little vulnerable, but we can expect to see Marcel stay away from her because her ability to have unlimited dupes. Now, there is a no teamwork card event in play, but Marcel didn't place any teamworks. So it looks like he got lucky and skated away from that.
well, there's a close-up picture of a watch.
Marcel is always fun to watch. He has a graded copy of the Kingpin, which he played in the last tournament that he uses. You may have seen him blessing his deck earlier on. And now he looks to have added, is that Lamb Chop from the old PBS show?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Marcel does tend to have fun at these events and likes to put something different on top of his deck. He was known for using sleeves with a lightning bolt on them for a while. But yeah, he likes to protect the top of his deck there, often with something, some kind of character or some kind of rock or something that, brings him some good luck.
I also called it out in the last tournament, but I'll call it out again. A lot of respect for him playing Xavier Protocols, which is anywhere from $500 to $800 card, depending on the market, where he could easily just play a 50-cent copy of the Robin version of it.
Yeah, that's the universe card that Marcel has on his Dracula's Armory down there, close to his leg there at the back of the table. It's the top card that comes out of the classic set and was accidentally slipped into some of the packs and became the most valuable, most rare chase cards in all of Overpower. There's 6 cards. They do vary in rarity. I would say that the 2 rarest ones are certainly the Teamwork and the Avengers ID, but that one would be in the middle tier of rarity, along with the Deal with the Devil. So, yeah, it's a fun collector's game as well.
For sure. So back in here, we got a little back and forth. Marcel leads out with the Raza against X Babies, probably knowing he's going to draw the negate. That's certainly the negate was placed, so he knew that was an option. Ricky fires back with an 8 energy, and Marcel uses his Daredevil activator, so his 9 or less avoid off the battle site is gone. Hell's Kitchen has a lot of defense, but Ricky's gonna want to punch through and make him use as many of those full avoids as he can right away, so he can capitalize on the fact that he has redundant characters later.
Yeah, and I know Marcel's playing that battle site to get quick access to the draw threes. And it does also give him some access to lockouts that other sites at like Mur Island might not have. It's not a solid lockout, but he does have like a CD, no, only universe card. Attacks can be played, things like that. So that helps keeps his characters alive a little bit longer when you're using only one 8-stat tastic.
Now, one thing I will call out, and again, Ricky's a little bit of a newer player, but I'm surprised he didn't use the avoid to avoid the Raza and keep the negate placed. I'm wondering if he was hoping he was going to bait a bigger attack out of it, because now he's going to, I think, put himself in a position where he's probably going to have to concede, and he could be conceding with that negate still on X babies.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that I can think he might be thinking, Joe, is that the X babies, if he draws another negate, he'll have to discard it. Whereas with the avoid, he can draw as many of those as he wants. So yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call. I would say avoid is probably safer, just because Marcel's playing a lot of draw on his deck, and you really want to be able to stop that. And there he played it, Joe. He just played the accidental insert to defend that attack right there.
Very expensive play. All right, well, he does get to use the avoid anyway out of his hand, and I think Marcel only went two. Ricky only went one. I would expect Ricky's just going to take this opportunity to get out of the hand. He's got no venture and nothing offensive. I'm not sure exactly what we're thinking about here. And the mission goes down. Marcel gets two up top. So Ricky is going back to back with his events. So that is no only strength teamwork cards may be played. Marcel does not look to have any strength teamworks that he could play. So that's going to essentially be no teamworks may be played. Marcel's got a duplicate Electra, also not as powerful an activator when you know your opponent's not playing specials. And Ricky looks to have about 5 avoids in his hand for Jubilee.
Wow.
And an image inducer, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, so I apologize. Last battle, I didn't realize he was attacking X babies, and Ricky actually could not use the Jubilee avoid there.
Sorry.
That's my mistake.
He had an X babies avoid in hand.
Right. Yeah.
Marcel is hiding his facial expressions with some kind of a Ninja Gaiden-esque facial mask.
So Ricky has the image inducer in his hand there, you saw, Joe.
Yeah.
That's another one of the classic inserts. The one he's holding is not the rarer one, it's the more common one that came out of the base set. But yeah, it's good to see those cards getting played. I mean, you certainly see at least 3 of them get played.
We've the last 2 rounds we've been seeing them. I've always been a fan of that card. If I have an ability to use it, I almost always put one on my deck. This is one of those situations. I've played a few variations of this deck with Jubilee and Beyonder. I've never been able to get it to work. And I think what you're going to see is exactly the issue I have, which is it's going to be awesome that Ricky can avoid 6 different cards with Jubilee, but he's only got like 1 card in hand that can generate any venture or 2. And that's the situation you find yourself in, is you just can't generate what you need to do any damage and generate any venture. So they're still placing.
Yeah, I had built a deck. It was quite a bit different than Ricky's, but it had the same problem where it was a Beyonder deck. It had a lot of teammate avoid and draw type cards. with Colossus and She-Hulk, and then Doppelganger in reserve to redraw it. But like the problem was, yeah, if you can draw 10 cards, it doesn't do you any good if they don't have any ability to attack the opponent, really. You know, like it's really tough the balance of Overpower and like all the different things you have to take into account to get the deck just right. Like you could build the same characters, have the special count be off by a few, and the deck will play totally different.
Absolutely. My version of this, I was running this was way back before the Masters of Evil. So I had it for a team event that we did. And I was using living costume off a battle site. I used an image battle site. So I
Wow.
put it on the middle. I did the middle person from Jubilee. So they were all any hero avoids, which was great. But I still found the same situation where you'd think having 5 guardians in hand would be unbeatable, but I just would never be able to generate the offensive numbers I needed.
Yeah, you really need the back and forth. The cards that work both for offense and defense are very powerful in this game.
Marcel just picked up 5 cards into his hand. Ricky has not drawn yet, so but Marcel may be trying to end this on hand too.
I mean, look at the cards he has placed. Marcel has a lot of gas. I mean, the draw 3, the 11. Did he go for it?
I
It looks
believe
like
he
he went
did.
for it.
By the look on Ricky's face, he did. So Ricky is going to draw 3 cards. 2, 3. Uh, it looked like he put 1 in the discard pile. I feel like he really needs a negate, and I can't tell if he has one in his hand. Ricky does the 2 bet, which is the mathematically the bet you want to do. If you're in a situation where they're going for game point, you have to win the hand for the game to continue. So you want to bet as many as you can without letting them draw a card. Oh no. Oh no.
He's going to go get another draw 3 through the jammers with the summonings from the battle site. So now he's going to have the ability to draw 6 cards if Ricky doesn't have any gates. So this situation is tough. I mean, typically you let the person go get the good card out of their deck, and then negate the card when they play it. But sometimes you want to be the last. You don't want to be the last person acting, or you do want to be the last person acting, depending on like if you need a hit to land or something special like a tuck. So deciding if you want to negate the skeletal summonings type card is not that straightforward. In this case, it looks like Ricky let it happen. I don't even know if Ricky has a way to negate anything. If he doesn't, he's in a lot of trouble.
You know, the skeletal summoning is going to let him get the image inducer in play. So depending on what else Marcel draws, it's the only thing that's going to give him a fighting chance. He's going to have 6 full avoids and a street profit.
So we just have to hope, if you're Marcel, that that every one of your activators you draw has an attack under it still. You know, things like that. Here, want to make sure that you have enough of attacks to get through that those avoids.
The thing to remember too is, Ricky could very well win this hand somehow and be in a terrible situation because he's going to put 12, 14 cards from his deck into the dead pile.
Yeah, yeah. Ricky's deck actually looks pretty big as well, and since those characters are mostly looking to use the non-one per deck specials because of the avoids, like I don't think it's as big of a deal to run an extra large deck in a situation like this. So you almost don't want to get X-Men's one per decks until he comes to the front line. So
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious if he's even playing anything other than that for him. Because you want to place the avoid on the home base so that either character can access it. That's great. I didn't see one of them was the full teammate avoid, which he just used.
that one doesn't cost him any cards. Yeah. Can you imagine if Jubilee's inherent could have duplicates of the teammate avoid instead of the straight avoid? I could have easily seen them do that. And then with Beyonder, that would have just been so hard to beat.
Oh my god, that would have been, yeah, that might have been too much. All right, Ricky's doing some thinking here. I think if I'm in this situation, I would throw that against. Oh, I would try to throw it against Beast and just get some amount of venture on the board. Hopefully, lets a little cut come through, and then maybe you can just defend every single thing Marcel throws.
Yeah, see, that's tricky because I think Marcel really does need to take the low hits here because every one of Marcel's hits are just the same. It's an avoid, it's an avoid, it's an avoid, right? So Ricky's trying to bait Marcel to block some of his lower attacks like that, um, which so far Marcel has not done. But like this 8 is just, I don't want to say it's useless, but it's going to get blocked.
Throwing an 8 energy. That is the new Zeus from the BMG set.
Foil, right? Yeah. Those are
Yep.
really nice cards. That came out of the very first release you guys had, and they're limited to 250 packs. Is that right?
Yeah, we only created 250 as a test, and they sold out in 72 hours.
You do get 3 of each of the power cards, though. I believe the 8s, right?
Correct. All right, he goes for the Electra and uses the full avoid off the site. Well, that 4 is a pretty significant little hit too, because it basically the 3 multi that's on Starjammers is not for the kill. It's gonna fuse if he puts it on the X babies, so he can basically ignore that as a card he doesn't have to defend since he's going for the venture win. Marcel's gonna take his 3 cards from Mr. Fantastic's draw 3, and we are off to the races. These draws are gonna decide a lot.
I'm a little surprised he used it so soon, but I guess I don't know what else he has in his hand. I mean, the 11's obviously not going to dupe. The 3 could, but maybe he doesn't have that much defense for Fantastic and just simply doesn't mind him dying because he's going for the win, and really doesn't want to block any low attacks. So,
And if we remember, we know one of the 2 cards that were in Marcel's hand was the other draw 3, which also won't dupe. I think he had an activator. That was the only other thing in his hand. I couldn't tell which one it was.
okay. Yeah, you're right. That draw 3 certainly won't dupe either.
I feel like Ricky's playing this really smart. He's throwing the 5. It's going to fuse. He's not giving Marcel a lot of incentive to block it. They're laughing. These guys are having a good time with this situation.
It looks like Ricky's still got 6 cards. So, to use between the 4 in his hand and the 2 avoids on the board. So, Marcel's definitely going to have to draw half decent off of his draw 3. Ooh.
That is not a card that's very relevant right now at all.
No, that hurts.
Don't wait. Don't. I mean, unless he has something in his hand that I'm not seeing. Oh, he took it and he's going offensive now.
Okay. That makes more sense.
I think he has got 5 full of voids left, and he can use every one of them. I think unless Marcel gets a great, it's really going to come down to the what cards Marcel draws.
Marcel might have to stop that 7. That's a big hit.
But I don't know if he knows he has to. He's not banking on 3 more avoids in the hand after those 2.
That's true. He does have 5 cards, one of which is a draw 3. So Marcel's got a lot of cards. Like, at some point, Ricky's going to run out of avoids. The question is, can Marcel's, like, say 2 or 3 hits to get through be enough to get above the 16 points of venture that's sitting there? And, I mean, we both know Ricky's going to be blocking that 11. That's a given.
And keep in mind, it's 17 because Ricky has chosen to play the Marvel Universe.
Oh, he does. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, so Marcel has an even slightly bigger mouth. Okay. We saw Marcel get a negate there. I didn't see what the other 2 cards were, but Oh, Marcel has a Kingpin activator. He hasn't played his draw 3 through Kingpin yet either, has he?
No, I think he just picked that up. So I think Ricky's in trouble. So I think Ricky just told him that he passed.
Oh my.
Marcel's got a look on his face. Yeah, I feel like the picking it going into the Kingpin activator, even with 5 avoids, I don't think you can come back against 3 draw 3s in a hand.
Marcel also picked up a negate, which is going to get rid of that 7 strength, the biggest hit Ricky has.
Oh, I did not hit my push to talk. I said that that negate can be really relevant because Ricky could, if I was in his shoes, I'd be letting everything hit right up until 16 points and then trying to avoid everything, but I wouldn't be expecting the negate to come through.
Right, yeah, you wouldn't expect the negate at the end.
So Ricky has let 2 small hits come through, and he's still got 5 full avoids. Oh,
Yes,
he
this
might. It's probably going to be the discard placed card to get rid of one of the avoids.
comes. Good call, Joe. And though it doesn't really matter, he cannot avoid that card either. Because it says opponent on it. But Ricky is having the time of his life in this match, I think. I mean, that is really what makes Marcel the GOAT, is the entertainment factor, really, and the ability to bring the fun. He's oftentimes strolling online, getting people psyched up for the tournaments. I mean, just an all-around good guy and good for the environment.
And I always have a great amount of fun when I play Marcel. It's always a blast. Now, Marcel chose the one placed to Jubilee, but I think he should have taken the one off the home base because Beyonder and Jubilee have access to that card.
Yeah.
So he uses one of the 3 from his hand to block the 8 snake route. Another 8's going to come through. I think we're going to say the same thing.
So Marcel's at 13 venture now so far. Oh no, sorry, that did not land yet.
He blocks the next 8. Marcel's
Back
got
to
3
5.
cards left. One's an 11. So
4 cards, I believe, counting the 11. And the one of them's probably a draw 3 through the Kingpin. So let's just hope he doesn't draw 3 teamworks right at the end. That's the most dangerous part of those cards.
now Ricky is probably going to let that hit. And that actually will tie the venture right now. Or no, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, Ricky will still be ahead after the 7's negated because of the home base. So he can still let that hit, and the negate can get rid of the 7, and he doesn't realize
How close it is. He does not realize how close it is, that's for sure. Marcel just went ahead and tossed the 11 out knowing it was going to get stopped.
looks like he's gonna do the 7.
Did you see Ricky's face when that happened? Oof.
So Ricky is ahead by 1 venture. Marcel has 1 card left, which is a Kingpin draw 3. Ricky's explaining to him that he's up by 1.
Assuming he didn't use the draw 3. I didn't see him use it, did you?
He's tapping the Kingpin, so I think he's about to.
Well, here we go.
Here we go is right. All right. I think he still has it. Yeah, there it is. Oh, look at Ricky's face.
I mean, come on.
He's got to get
better.
2 numerical hits.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs 2 attacks, right? Of any kind. Wow. This is oh man. This is probably the game one way or the other.
One's an avoid.
Oh, that's no good.
I can't see the other ones.
Ooh, I thought the other one might have been okay.
All right. Well, we see he's gonna avoid it. What's the other card? It's
Oh!
eight. Oh, good game,
Oh.
Marcel. Wow.
Draws 2 8s off the draw 3.
Oh my God. What? Wow. That was so close.
I really do think that 2 out of 3 of his draws should be attacks, probably.
Yeah, I mean, he's not missing any characters, so he's running a battle site, which gives him that versatility. It's definitely going to be hard for him not to get two, but just the fact that Ricky held him with three draw threes that still came down to the last two cards was what a match.
Wow. Yeah. Jeez. Oh man, this is what we watched for. This is great stuff.
That was fantastic. That's my favorite one of the day so far. I'm glad we put that one on camera.
Wow. All right. Well, we're still just getting started. That's only 3 rounds. We got 4 more rounds of Swiss and then a top 8 after that, Joe. So we're going to be with you guys all day today.